So today, guys, while we wait for more news, I wanted to talk about rumored stuff that we might see in the future that was, rumored by major people, of course. So this is kind of a recap of stuff that was considered, talked about, or even mentioned by the main devs or somebody that it's important by Gaijin. So stuff that I already mentioned in the channel, some of them, not all, but some of them. And of course, with this, you can kind of have an idea on what to expect. Of course, we can have features and everything, but I wanted to talk about specific rumored vehicles that we might even see in this update. So let's talk about them. Some of them I didn't mention, so that's the catch, right? So the first one, of course, is the MiG-25, guys. It was actually mentioned by BVVD, and at the time, I kind of understood that he was kind of confirming. If you don't know, BVVD is one of the main directors of Gaijin, if I'm not mistaken, like the game director, basically. I think it's his position or something like that. He basically steers War Thunder, right? And he always does the Russian streams and everything. And of course, he mentioned that the MiG-25 is not confirmed to come, but it is a potential event or squadron vehicle into the future. I think, honestly, this vehicle is such an iconic interceptor from the Cold War that we just need to have it in the game. So I would be really surprised if we don't see the MiG-25. But at least we have kind of a inner... we can kind of have an idea on the inner thoughts that they have inside Gaijin, right? To actually where to put the MiG-25. Because it is a difficult aircraft to actually add to the game. You know, I've been talking about this vehicle for years now, and I still don't believe, how we don't still have this vehicle, but at the same time, I understand that it's a difficult vehicle to be added, just like something like the F-117, right? So, MiG-25 mentioned by BVD as a potential event. Apparently, another BVD mentioning was new wheeled vehicles for Russia. They're not talking about a new branch, but they're talking about many vehicles that can be added. I would assume this is more BTRs, more or less, or some form of vehicle like that. Of course, we already have some BTRs, but we have some very limited ones. There are some very, very cool options out there that will have a multitude of, types of weapons and guns and everything, right? And even we can even consider some other vehicles, maybe like, for example, the good old BMD, the BRDM-1 or even BRDM-2, right? There are multiple Russian vehicles that can be added, and yeah, some of them would be very, very cool. So they were mentioning as well that Gaijin will add some of these vehicles. We don't know exactly, but some of them will be added. Another one that comes for the Russians that were mentioned as well by BVVD is the Buk M3, guys. So the Buk is a vehicle that I didn't talk too much about it in the channel. And it is probably what is going to be the next kind of top tier vehicle for the Russians, I would say, for an AA system. This is one of the medium range kind of systems that they have, right? They've been using these since, I don't know, like the 80s, so it's a very interesting system. Of course, it is very infamous, right? Especially because, of course, of the war that it's going around since 2014, right? So it's complicated to even talk too much about this missile, but it would be a very interesting system because we have here one of the first ones that in the game could do that. That would be basically having a semi-active radar homing that can be fired in multiple targets at once, right? So they have a multitude of types of guidance and everything with this. But the idea here was, with the Cubs, it was a little bit different. But with the proper Buks that were mentioned, especially with the M3 variant, we would have a very modernized, system that has a tracking radar on the launcher itself, right? So it could be a very, very interesting system. Of course, in the game, we would have kind of a nerfed one on the terms of the amount of these launchers. Probably would be only 2, together with the radar vehicle, right? So I don't think it would be like game breaking or anything like that. It might not even be top tier, depending on the version. The M3 is a pretty modern one, but still. But at the end of the day, it would be a very interesting vehicle to have, right? The Buks are very interesting. And I really do hope they add this vehicle very, very soon. Another AA system that can be added is, of course, the system that it's based on the Aster missile family, right? This system would actually be for France, if I'm not mistaken, for Italy as well. And it would be basically, the SAMT, I think it's called, right? Which is the Sol Air Monnier Portée Terrestre. I don't know how to pronounce that, but the surface to air medium range land based, right? Basically, this would be a, type of anti-air system that it's very close to the air-to-air system, anti-air systems that we have in the game right now, right? So again, it could be for the French and for the Italians, and it would be a very interesting vehicle. I mean, it would have some active radar homing missiles that would have up to, on the very least, 30 kilometers of range, 20 kilometers of fly altitude, right? So it's 13 kilometers on the very least. So it's a pretty good missile, depending on the variant over here. Active radar homing missile that can be used by France and Italy. I still think there are many other ones, like, for example, the Mika VL, right? But this system is being in service since 2001, so it would make more sense, maybe, than the other ones. So these are the ones that were mentioned by BVVD itself. So MiG-25 as a maybe potential vehicle, new wheeled vehicles for Russia. We don't know which, but new vehicles. The Buk M3 is being considered, and the Aster is being considered as well. So very cool, right? And then, of course, we have the two vehicles that came from official source. Remember, I'm always talking about official sources over here. I'm not talking about leaks or anything like that. I'm talking about official BVD forum sources, right? And another one, two of them. I'm just gonna wrap it up the video with these two, of course, because we just talked about them. Of course, the plot was kind of hinted by the community talk that we had, right? The community manager, community update, whatever it's called, right? Number 7. So the plot was kind of hinted at there. And the Hornet, or more Hornet variants on the very least, hinted as well there, right? I still believe it's the Super Hornet, but we need to wait. So these are the 5 vehicles that were basically, or the 5, rumors that were basically, they came from official sources for specific vehicles, okay? Of course, we have open ideas that they confirmed, like, for example, 5th generation jets that are only coming the second half of 2026. But specific stuff, we have these 5. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Buk, the Aster, the Plot, and the Super Hornet in this update. Maybe a new wheeled vehicle as well. The only one that I think might take a little bit more time to be added is the MiG-25. So let's wait and see, right? But basically, these are it. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and bye, guys. See ya.